Alright guys, what's going on? Happy Monday. We are fresh off the Jake Paul victory over Mike Perry on Saturday. Hopefully we've all got over the depression of that being the case. And before we move on to the UFC content this week, because we got UFC 304 happening this Saturday, which we're going to go live for, so make sure you tune in. Jake Paul just did a podcast with his brother Logan. He gives his assessment of the fight. He talks about Mike Perry. He actually offers Mike Perry a proposition. He responds to Conor McGregor, he talks about Alex Pereira, and then he even mentions Tommy Fury. So first off, Jake Paul gives his assessment of how he thinks the fight went.
You did just fight a long, hard fight.
I didn't feel the best, but I got the job done.
You lied to me.
My coaches are saying that I did good, but
Bro, you won 6 out of 6 rounds.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
I don't want to get hit at all.
You
But
have to.
I know, kind of. You don't have to.
But I mean, it's good that you do. You know what I mean? You toughen up.
Why did you get hit?
Yeah, why'd you do that?
I'm fucking soft as hell. I think my energy was a little bit lower. Like, my punch output I don't think was as high, but I need to watch it back. I don't know.
Jake says he doesn't want to get hit at all in his fights. Well, that can only happen under a few conditions. The first condition is you have the skill of someone like Mayweather, which, let's face it, that's not going to happen anytime soon. 2, you run the whole fight. Or 3, just fight lower quality opponents. And I know that you're already trying to do that by cherry picking your fights, and all your opponents consist of retired MMA fighters or people from completely different sports, should we say. And I know that's going to sound like I'm crapping on MMA, but I'm not. You're just clever with who you are choosing. You're fighting great MMA fighters, but those great MMA fighters are retired, old, and not good boxers. Mike Perry, also bare knuckle champion, yes, but not because of his boxing skill, basically because of his toughness and his pressure and his ability to get hurt and then double the pain back to his opponent.
Jake, you beat the fuck out of this guy.
Yeah, I need to see the punch output
That was a
and all that.
beatdown. Bro, it was brutal.
Let's talk about like strategy compared to what happened in the ring. What was your strategy going into that fight? What did you do and actually deliver on that fight?
No, that was the exact strategy, is keep him at bay, use the jab. He was way more wild than I thought. He was really hard to hit, leaning back, going off to the side, doing left hand, overhand, switching to the southpaw stance. And he did have big punches, and so I was like, I don't want to get hit with one that's just like wild out of nowhere. So I just kept him at bay, kept on working, and slowly picked him apart, and that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. But I didn't think he was that durable. This guy's a fucking zombie.
Was it power you were expecting, or was it unexpected power?
It was exactly what I thought. MMA fighters hit harder than boxers, especially when he's a brawler like that.
Jake Paul said that MMA fighters hit harder than boxers. That's interesting. That might just be because the last 2 boxers he faced were awful. I sound like a proper hater here. Let me show you something. I seen this pop up the other day. It's Jake Paul's boxing record. Jake Paul's first fight was a YouTuber who fights like a crab. His second fight was against a retired basketball player. Yeah, his third fight was against the worst striker in UFC history, Ben Askren. This is all true. Next 2 fights were against Tyron Woodley, 42 years old, 4-fight losing streak in the UFC, then retired. Tyron Woodley was known for no longer pulling the trigger. He couldn't throw a punch. Then was against Anderson Silva, 49 years old, 1-8 in his last 9 fights. Damn, this is crazy when you put it all together like this. Then against Tommy Fury, who is the only non-old active boxer, right? And he lost that fight. Then was against Nate Diaz, retired UFC fighter, 39 years old. I will also add to that he's a blown up lightweight, so he's meant to fight at 155 pounds. Jake Paul fought him 185. Next fight was Andre August, 1 win in 4 years. Next was Ryan Borland, retired in 2018, came back and looked like a proper dad bod. And then we had Mike Perry, 170-pound fighter, a 7-8 record in the UFC. Now, he is 5-0 in the bare knuckle FC, but as I say, it's a little bit of a different story. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. So, I mean, level of competition, that's what we have to look at here. In terms of the actual boxers who he's faced, he's only fought one semi-okay boxer, who is Tommy Fury, and that's the fight that he lost. Next, this is pretty interesting, and I'm going to give Jake some credit here. He's got a proposition for Mike Perry.
And Mike Perry apparently got fired from the BKFC by Conor McGregor.
It's actually kind of sad. I don't like it.
It is sad. No, it's sad. It's horrible.
Yeah, bro. Especially because he's like, bro, when you're promoting a fight, you can't be friendly with people, but I think he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's funny.
He's
great at promoting.
Mike's fantastic. He's magnetic.
It was hard to talk to him the whole entire week because I thought he was hilarious, but obviously they're selling a fight and hyping it up. But everyone in the comments was saying, I think Jake and Mike are going to be lifelong friends, and I think it could happen. But we have a proposition, actually. Mike Perry, since you got fired by Conor McGregor from the BKFC, we will hire you into Better as a partnership and give you some sort of role. We'll figure out what that's going to be. But Mike Perry, Florida boy, we're Florida based. So Better has a job for you, Mike Perry.
Keeping
It's
the
kinda like it's
unemployed
dope, but it's also
employed.
like a spit in the face. I feel like
Really?
It
No.
is.
You just basically tell him you can't fight, so you should retire from fighting.
No, we're just giving him another form of stream of income.
It's not even going to keep him fighting.
Yeah, he could keep fighting.
Okay. It's not like you're gonna hire him as like a desk employee.
Oh no! Like a Bone Nickel type partnership. Like we can maybe start a podcast with him.
This is
or
great.
something like that.
What-
We'll figure it out.
That's a real philanthropic move, Jake Paul. You're a good guy.
So Jake Paul has offered Mike Perry a job. Now, if you're Mike Perry, do you take it as an insult or are you thankful for it? And as he said, it's more like a partnership. They'll figure it out at a later date, but he said basically it's another source of income for Mike Perry. You know, I think that's a good move by Jake. Good on him, fair enough. Whether Mike Perry takes him up on that, I don't know, because Mike Perry now not being in the Bare Knuckle FC, I mean, as far as we are aware, unless that situation changes anytime soon, seems like Mike Perry is going to be a free agent. We know that Dana White said that he will offer Mike Perry a UFC contract if he beats Jake Paul, but obviously that's not going to happen now. But whatever, fair play to Jake there. Next, they read out Conor McGregor's tweets about Jake Paul to Jake, and then Jake responds.
Did you
you.
see the rest of Connor's tweets?
No, we should pull him up.
He's a very angry Irishman.
He's probably, he's probably drunk and watching cocaine on a yacht.
for sure.
I don't know.
Jake Paul is the
poor guy.
biggest piss bag I've ever seen in my life. And then calling out 60-year-old Mike Tyson fresh off an in-fight medical emergency. I swear to God, a fat can of bitch piss. Most valuable piss bag. So you're a piss bag. Thank you.
Angry cokehead. I mean, the guy's on Twitter, the guy's on yachts, the guy's on cocaine, but he's not in the ring winning fights like me, so he could say whatever he wants. I think it's kind of funny that he's just tweaking geeked right now, just going crazy like that.
I mean, he's not wrong though, is he? I'm a Conor McGregor fan. I'm not exactly a massive Jake Paul fan, but I can get behind the fact that he's actually fighting. But Jake Paul said, listen, he's tweeting, he's on his yacht, he's doing cocaine, he's drinking, he's doing everything apart from actually fighting. And I can't really say anything against that. Jake's right.
He won't fight me. I've said it since a long time ago. Conor McGregor, he's owned by Dana White. He probably can't get out of his contract, but that's what he'll hide behind because he's not going to get in there. So all the shit talk, all of that, he won't put it on the line.
Right, now that's kind of the part where I disagree. Jake said that he's protected by Dana White. These fighters aren't protected by Dana White. They are in a contract, a UFC contract. Jake Paul makes it out as if these fighters are bound to Dana White and Dana White is their boss. Now, although that is technically true, the fighters are self-employed under the UFC, which basically means they have their own self-employment contract. So they are their own bosses. Dana White is the boss of the UFC as an entity, and the UFC subcontract fighters to fight for them. And the best way I can explain it is I have my gym here in Liverpool, and I've got a bunch of personal trainers who work in that gym. However, I am not the boss of those trainers. I am the boss of the gym. All those personal trainers are self-employed. They are their own business entities and they pay me rent to operate in my space. It's a little bit of a similar setup. I'm the boss of the business, but at the end of the day, they only have to follow a few rules within my business. But really, ultimately, they are their own bosses, and it's the same with the UFC fighters as well. So Jake is technically his own boss because Most Valuable Promotions, he owns that. And Jake Paul is essentially a self-employed fighter under his own company. So fair play to Jake. It's a good business move in doing so. But Conor McGregor, Alex Pereira, they're under contract. They have to fulfill those contracts first before they can do any sort of fight outside of the UFC. It's not that they're scared. It's not that they're getting protected. Also, Jake Paul said Conor McGregor won't fight me. That's him just trying to use reverse psychology to get McGregor to fight him. Because if McGregor wanted to fight Jake Paul and put that offer on the table, Jake Paul would be like, oh, yeah, yes, please. Please fight me, McGregor. Everyone wants the McGregor fight because you know it's going to be a massive payday.
And I want a tougher challenge than McGregor. McGregor, I want Alex Pereira. I want
Ain't gonna lie,
the
that's a
light
crazy
heavyweight
call.
I
champion.
didn't see that coming.
Because people say everything about weight difference, 40 this, 40 whatever. Mike, I was 212 in the ring tonight, so 10-pound difference. That's common in boxing. But Alex Pereira rehydrates to 240.
That's a big
So
guy.
I want someone who, when I them up like I did tonight, there is no excuses. Alex Pereira, 6'4", 240 pounds, kickboxing world champion, 2-division champion in UFC. When I beat him, what the can they say?
I'll tell you what they can say. Alex Pereira is still not a boxer. Like, how are you missing this logic, Jake? Multi-time kickboxing champion, 2-division UFC champion, yet all these accolades, yet he is still not a boxer. So that's what they can say. Now, as I said in yesterday's video, Jake, I'm saying this directly to you, although you won't see this video, but if you really, truly want to shut people up, then call out an MMA fighter to an MMA fight. Go and fight them in MMA, okay? Because that's why people are on your case right now. If you was only fighting boxers, people would have less to say. People can say about the level of competition and say, oh, that boxer who you fought's crap, that's a journeyman, blah, blah, blah. But you'd eventually go up the rankings and fight better boxers. You're calling out MMA fighters, bare knuckle fighters. Next thing, you're going to be calling out Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champions. That's what people are getting at with you, Jake. Not hard to understand, is it? Come on. Wake up.
Write me off. Keep writing me off. That's what you guys have always done in every single facet of my life since I was fucking 8 years old. Do you think it's ever gonna fucking stop me when you guys say I can't do something? That's what I want. You silly fucking dweebs. Like, let's go. Alex Pereira is who I want.
And for the record, I don't actually write Jake Paul off whatsoever. I picked him to win on the weekend. A lot of professional MMA fighters, extremely knowledgeable MMA fighters, were choosing against Jake Paul and saying that Mike Perry was going to win. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson predicted that Mike Perry was going to win. I don't underestimate Jake. I know that he's becoming a good boxer. I just have a problem with the way he chooses opponents, that's all.
With you every day in camp, and I haven't heard a single thing about Alex Pereira.
Yeah,
when I heard you say that, I was so thrown off guard. Have you been thinking about this for a while?
I've been thinking about it.
He a big guy, though, bro.
Since I saw his tweet, the number one reply, he's like, who should I fight? The number one reply, Jake Paul, and I'm down. They said I couldn't beat Anderson Silva. They said I couldn't beat Tyron Woodley. They said I couldn't beat Mike Perry. And I just keep on doing it. And by the way, with ease, like I got hit 3 or 4 times tonight.
They said I couldn't beat Ben Askren. They said I couldn't beat Tyron Woodley. They said I couldn't beat Mike Perry. And they're going to say the same about Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira is a completely different animal. And I actually do believe, even within boxing, Alex Pereira would absolutely fold Jake Paul. I truly believe that. I found this next part interesting. Jake Paul confesses to drinking 2 weeks out from the fight, and then he also name drops Tommy Fury. Check it out.
I'm an alcoholic. There's no etiquette.
It does run in our family as well, right, Mom?
Exactly. And I'm an... and what am I?
Bro, they've been saying this all, like, oh, alcoholism runs in our family. Be careful. It sprints in our family, brother.
Yeah,
it doesn't run.
By the way, everybody thought you were lying about drinking 2 weeks before the fight.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to say on the podcast.
I'll be honest. I was surprised at that decision to drink at the white party.
This nigga was more cooked than me.
I don't even know how I got home.
Why did you do that?
Why
For the
not?
vibes.
Great question.
Because you have a massive fight 2 weeks later, and if you lose that fight, you don't get to fight Mike
But
Tyson.
I don't lose.
That
Unless
is
it's Tommy
true.
Fury. But I'm coming for you, Tommy!
Now, I won't play the rest of it, but Jake goes on to say he knew he was going to win. I don't lose, brother, which is a sign of delusion and massive ego. It's all good being confident in your ability, but then using that as an excuse to drink alcohol 2 weeks out from the fight, that mindset will only take you so far, my man. And then you heard him say, I'm coming for you, Tommy. I think after the Mike Tyson fight, which is probably going to happen in November, I really hope it doesn't, but I think after that, you'll probably call out Tommy Fury then, which I'm all for. And I think this version of Jake Paul will actually beat Tommy Fury, unless Tommy Fury's been training like an absolute animal since their last fight, and he's been in the trenches. But let's face it, that's probably not the case. Now, we're going to finish off with this next segment. I want to show you how weird the Paul family is. Jake Paul, Logan Paul, his dad, and even his mum. They openly sit there and discuss jacking off with the dad and the mum present. Yeah, just make sure you haven't got your kids round for this next segment.
How long out from the fight did you save your nut?
Like 4 days.
You were beating that
Yeah.
Bro,
First off, this black lad. I could never imagine sitting there with my mate and my mate's dad and the mum over there and then asking my mate that. When was the last time you bust a nut? Who are these people? Am I just getting old or something?
My girlfriend is long. It's long distance.
Chill, bro. But I noticed the time period is shortening.
Yeah,
You used to do like a month, and then it probably got a little
no,
harder.
it's too much, bro.
Too much.
It's
It
too
might
much.
be real. It might
It's
be.
definitely real.
Greg Paul is saying that that's all bullshit.
Oh no, you got to build your back.
Greg, have you ever jacked off in the morning? It's not good for the rest of the day.
We can't. No, it's my dad. It's my dad.
Sorry.
It's my dad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I mean, come on. But I can nut and f***ing kick ass right
Bro,
afterwards.
stop.
So,
Stop.
Why? That's how savages work, you f***ing pansy ass.
Don't forget the mum standing right there as well. I could never imagine talking about this stuff with me mum. What? Absolute weird, man. But there you go anyway. Some interesting things Jake Paul's spoken about. That's probably the last that we're going to be covering of this Jake Paul and Mike Perry fight. So I just thought it was good to wrap up the Jake Paul and Mike Perry storyline. And from here, now more storylines begin. Alex Pereira, Conor McGregor, you got Mike Tyson, Tommy Fury. Who's Jake Paul going to fight next? Oh, who's going to finally humble him? Now remember, UFC 304 this weekend. Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades 2. Paddy Pimblett versus Bobby Green. It's going to be good. We're going to go live for it. It's going to be another late one, but I want to see us all on that live stream. And also make sure to check out my self-sponsor here, the Apex Athlete app, www.apexathlete.app. Sign up to the waiting list for when we launch on August the 8th. And when you join that waiting list, you'll get 10 free training programs straight to your email, just as a way of saying thanks for showing interest in my app. Appreciate you all. Like this video. See you tomorrow.